It's gonna be a rainy and stormy day today, so this morning the girls and I decided we would go full tilt with making the house feel romantic and peaceful with low lights, and it's been a very sweet and slow morning. The kids have had their breakfast and they're currently playing, and I just thought today's a great day to open a discussion about how we as mothers can live slowly with our children. So I think we first need to discuss what is the heart of slow living. And I believe that it is living with intention. It's about being present and mostly about having a heart of gratitude. And I honestly think that that is one of the best ways we can truly enjoy our time as mothers, is to learn how to be fully present in the moment, to see the romance in each moment, and to be fully intentional with what we say, how we act, and what we think in these days of taking care of our sweet children. Ordinarily, our kids would be swallowing the frog, as I like to put it, finishing their homeschooling, but all of them are playing together so nicely. They're having such a fun time that I just hate to break that up. And I feel like that's another good example of just having rhythms. They're gonna have fun playing, and then when that dies down, we'll go back to school. Half of them are already finished with their individual work anyway, so I'm glad they're playing together and having a good time. So yeah, when we moved here, it was a bit of a emotional struggle for me as a mom. To our kids, it felt like camping. They had a great time. But for me, as an introvert who really enjoys her quiet time, it was pretty rough. And I remember watching a friend's YouTube channel. You probably already follow her. If you don't, you should. Our Little House in the Mountain. Lee is very, very dear to my heart. I just love her to pieces. But I was watching one of her videos on slow and intentional living, and I felt so discouraged. I thought, this just can't happen for me right now. This just isn't the season of life. And I almost unfollowed her. Even though we are friends, like very close friends, I almost unsubscribed for a season. But then I thought, no, I want to sit down with this. I want to really analyze myself. Like, why is it bothering me? Like, why am I feeling this almost like jealousy over how calm and peaceful her home is? And instead of choosing that emotion, let me reframe my thoughts and my emotions to problem solving. So that's what I started to do. I started to think, well, what does she have that I feel like I'm lacking? Like, what? And there's got to be a solution to this. It can't be that only those who don't have children in the home can have peaceful, slow, intentional living. So I started to think, I'm just going to start slowly implementing one thing at a time. So I started lighting candles in the morning for my quiet time, or lanterns. I do love hurricane lanterns. I started listening to softer, slower music, and honestly, this YouTube channel helped me a lot. I started looking for beautiful things around me to film, especially outside. And that's when I started to see that intentional slow living is about your mindset. It's all about how you're framing the life around you. If you're seeing the romance in it, or if you're kind of speeding through life. And that's something I was definitely guilty of just trying to go from one thing to the next, always staying busy. And not necessarily productive, but busy. Because I felt if I sat down and really just took my time to enjoy a moment, that I was being lazy. And that was something else I needed to really analyze about myself. Like, am I being lazy or am I being present? Because there is a difference. I want to attribute how I learned how to start living slowly to my dear friend Lee and her videos that actually wound up helping me a lot more than I thought they would. So in the name of being real, I'm not going to try to hide the fact that it's still noisy around here, because that would be very dishonest. And that's another thing I've learned, is that slow living for mothers is going to look different, and that's okay. Part of that acceptance and finding the joy in the season of life that I'm in is not thinking that everything has to be silent for me to enjoy slow living. So I don't need it to be silent. I had to switch how I heard all the noise in my head. It's not silent, but it's happy. And that's worth it. It's happy noise. They're making a joyful noise. And that's something to celebrate. And it's not something to try to stifle or think, I can't be happy unless it's super duper quiet in here. I don't want to have that kind of mindset. So I think it's important to note that there's not one size fits all way of slow living. What is slow living in your home may be different than someone else's home. And I believe as mothers, we have to think of slow living as a way that helps us enjoy our children and the career of homemaking, so that we are the most present and happy moms that we can possibly be for our children. Because aside from our relationship with our Creator and our husbands, our relationships with our children are going to be the most fulfilling relationships that we have. So we don't want to sleep on this opportunity. And I really think that if we use slow living as a way to change our mindset to being present parents, it goes so far to not looking back with regrets. If we choose now to be present with our children and to enjoy this time with them, including the loud noises and the messes and even the conflicts that you have to put out for your children to teach them how to function as human beings, it helps us feel fulfilled in our role and not look back thinking, I should have done differently.
Would you like a dollar that you buy me a present?
Isn't that nice? I think we need to now discuss some practical ways we can apply this to our lives. And I think part of being present with our children is just truly taking them in. Take the time to just pause and stroke their hair, give them a tight squeeze, hug them until they are the first ones to let go. Really notice their voice. Try to memorize their laughter. These little moments, they make imprints on our hearts, and they help us remember just how truly precious these little beings are. And I think another way that we can really appreciate them is to try to see life from their perspective, remembering what it was like to be a child and for everything around you to feel so big and new. Because when you're a child, everything feels like a big deal. And I know the people who had the biggest impact on my childhood were people who took me seriously. Even if it was like a childlike upset or excitement, the people who took me seriously and I felt truly listened to me and spoke to me like an equal and not a child, those people really made big impacts in my life. And those are the people I would be more likely to receive advice from, because I felt like those people in my life were listening to understand and see my perspective, and not necessarily to try to change my mind, but to just see where I was coming from. And that creates a safe space for children when they truly listen to them. You know how when you read a book for the first time, how it all seems so very fresh and it stays with you for a while after you finished it. But then over time, when you look back on the book, only a few things really stick out to you. It might be a really tragic part of the story, or it could be a really happy part, or something that taught you something you didn't know before. And when you look at that particular book, you might just remember those key moments and then the overall feeling that book gave you. I feel like large sections of my life are like that. When I look back on my childhood and my adolescence and young adult life, I feel like I just remember sections or just little blocks instead of like one continual memory. So I often wonder, what are those little chapters going to look like to my children? What are going to be those core memories? So that's something I really try to keep in mind. You know, I try to remind myself a core memory could be happening right now. And it can be a memory of just how a typical day was, or it could be a very happy memory, or it could be a memory of my failures as a human, and hopefully an opportunity for them to learn to forgive me when I fall short, because we're all gonna have those. You're so cute. And I think that is something else that can help us live intentionally. This is their one and only childhood, and we don't get a second chance. And I don't say that to make anyone feel guilt-ridden, because that's not going to benefit anybody. I say that as a gentle reminder to us all to live very carefully, to do our best to choose a kind tone, to choose patience, to choose being present. And I know for myself, a big way to choose to be present is to put my phone down. And I know that probably seems very counterintuitive because here I am filming a video. But honestly, I film maybe once or twice a week, or I just take pieces here and there, and then that's it. I have a lot of timers on my phone. I have my phone set where I don't get most notifications, so that I don't feel this urgency to answer them until I'm ready. And that has also helped, because I don't like feeling like I'm a slave to my phone. I like to answer it when it's a good time, so that my family comes first. And I think that that's something we also have to really analyze ourselves about and put boundaries in place that help protect our time with our family, so that we can be present and not just be here in person, but be elsewhere with our mind and our emotions. This little fella is just my constant sidekick, and I'm not mad about it. We have a tradition in our home that our babies make these beautiful abstract paintings when they turn 6, 12, and 18 months old. So I have this wonderful art gallery in our home that just means so very much to me. And this week, this little guy got to make his first canvas. Yes, that's my lovely diaper closet. Those boxes are holding more than diapers. That is something to be addressed later. Anywho, I can hardly believe this little man is half a year old. So we're about to hang his first canvas. So some parting words before we end this video. I just want to say that while our husbands have the role of being the providers and the protectors, the Creator gave us the gift of influence. And we are very blessed with having the ability to make our homes, meaning our homes are what we make them. Our temperature affects the atmosphere of our home. We have the ability to make it feel sunny and breezy or dark and stormy. So that is on us. We have every opportunity to make our homes a joyful, wonderful place to be, or it can feel crazy and chaotic. It's up to us to really hone in on our skills as creative women, as multitaskers, of making our home exactly what we and our families need. And it's actually a very empowering and exciting thought. So if you are wanting to have a slower, more intentional lifestyle in your home, I hope you feel encouraged by this video to really be still and think about what are some action steps, some practical ways you can transform the environment of your home. And if you have some suggestions for your fellow sisters, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And I want to thank you for once again coming back to our Goshen. We're so grateful that you guys come and watch our videos. It means a lot to us. And if you are interested in supporting our channel, Gabriel and I very recently opened an Etsy shop. It's very much in its infancy. I hope to add listings every week. It's been a wonderful creative outlet for me, especially when I am often nap trapped, as they say. Though it's not a trap, it's a blessing. I love contact naps. It's been great to get to sit on my phone and create things on Procreate. While I love painting, it's always not practical for me to do. So I've really enjoyed this creative outlet. And if you guys would even so much as follow the shop just to help build it, that would mean so very much to me. I'll leave a link for the shop in the description box below. And once again, thank you so much for coming back, and I hope to see you in the next video. Shalom, friends.